Good morning, everyone. It's Gloria, and I'm doing something a little bit different today. I'm not starting out with Lily Beth. I honestly had thought, for some reason, I thought I had already done this video. My memory sometimes just fails me. I guess I had thought about it so much I actually thought I had made the video. But this is for Yvonne from Havinguon, and she wanted us to make a video about something in our past that impacted our lives in a very positive way. And I have had many things in my long life that would apply and I could do a video on, but I wanted to go back and just tell you one of the earlier things that truly changed my life and changed it for the better. And it's going to start, I'm going to show you, this is the baby book of my oldest daughter. Her name is Maria, and she was born on July 5th, 1972. And this is her baby book, and these are her little handprints and her sweet little footprints. And I don't know, it doesn't show up all that clearly in this particular handprint, but you might notice that, let's see if I can get my hand on it. Right here, there is a line going straight across each palm. That is one of the indications of Down syndrome. And yes, my oldest daughter has Down syndrome. And she is 43 years old now. And she has been one of the lights of my life. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about her. And I'm going to try to do it without tearing up. It's very hard for me. But I was 23 years old and had been married for 5 years when I found out that I was pregnant, and it was a very exciting time. And when I was around 3 months pregnant, I started bleeding and had to have shots to keep from miscarrying. And I suppose looking back on that now, that probably was a sign that something was not right in the pregnancy. But, you know, I had some rest, and with the shots I was able to carry the baby to term, and she was 3 weeks late, and but she was born, you know, I can't even, this is awful, my mind is slipping here. Let's see, yes, 6 pounds 8 ounces. That's exactly the weight of my grandbaby when she was born. But immediately upon her birth, there began to be problems in the hospital, and Maria almost died. And she had seizures, and there were just a number of problems. But later on, we brought her home, and I thought something was different about her, but just couldn't quite put my finger on it. And, you know, 43 years ago, Down syndrome was not quite as well known as it is today, and there weren't quite as many children born with Down syndrome. At that time, it was 1 in 1,700, and now it's just like 1 in a couple of hundred. So there have been many more births since then. And back at that time, a lot of women institutionalized their babies at birth. As a matter of fact, I had a friend that I grew up with whose mom had a Down's baby, and she wasn't even allowed to see it. They immediately put it in an institution. And so I had some horrible ideas about what this was all about when she was born, and I was very frightened. You know, being my first child, my first pregnancy, I had no idea what I was facing, my husband and I. But we decided to face it together and raise her as normally as possible. And I did go through some hard times back then, but I don't ever remember asking why. I've just always felt like she was a blessing from God. She was born with a heart defect, but thank our Father in heaven, it was not anything that gave her any trouble. She just was very small, and she didn't walk until she was 2 years old. And her first walking shoe was a size 0. Now that tells you how little her foot was, ladies. The little thing, I think she wore like about maybe a 9-month size dress when she was walking. Very, very tiny little thing, but so precious. So I'm going to share with you some pictures of Maria from the baby book. And this one, of course, this one goes back to when she was 6 years old. But this is her first teacher at special education. And this was her first Special Olympics. And this was her little friend, Shay Hicks. And they did a little run for Special Olympics. And it was very sweet because Maria ran quite fast, but Shay stumbled and fell. And Maria saw that her little friend had fallen, and she stopped and went back and got Shay. And so Maria did get the first prize, blue ribbon, and Shay got the red ribbon. But they were very, very close friends until we moved. Now I'm going to just show you quickly. This was one of Maria's very first pictures. And she had had her head shaved when she was born because they did a brain tap. And so she had very long hair. You can see kind of a little tuft of it in the back. But at this picture, it had just started growing back. And of course, all my photos have discolored over the years, and I really hate that was the case. And here is another picture of Maria. This was the dress that I brought her home from the hospital in, and she was very pale in this picture. She was a very sick little baby, but I wanted a picture of her at that time. And then here she is again. She should have been sitting up by the time this picture was made, but of course, you know, Down syndrome children do everything at a much slower rate. And this is her at a later time. She had put on a little weight. She was just so cute, always so happy. And then this is her at a slightly older age. I think she was about maybe 4 or 5. I'm having a difficult time remembering. Oh, here we go back to another baby picture. And another baby picture. I just love these two pictures of her. She looked exactly like this. And this little dress my mother made for her, and she actually smocked it by hand. And I still have this little dress. And there she is. My mother made that little dress also. And there she is again. And that is a kindergarten picture of Maria, I believe. And that is her first grade school picture. And I'm going to show you something. This I thought was very funny. This was a kindergarten picture when she was 3 years old. And do you see the way she's sitting at that in that chair? Well, she is 43 years old, and to this day she still sits like that in a chair. And when we can't get her to sit on the sofa to watch TV, she sits on the floor in front of the TV, and she sits with her legs crossed. I think it's the funniest thing, but she has never changed. And I'll show you that Maria went on to, we helped her to participate in everything that we possibly could get her in. My husband was president of the Special Olympics here, and Maria went to the World Games 2 different times, and this was her first experience in New Haven, Connecticut, and she won a silver medal there, and her second, that was for the 50-meter dash, and she did also the softball throw, but she went back again several years later, and she won 2 gold medals. So I'm very, very proud of her. And this was Maria's graduation picture from high school. Now, she graduated in the special education department. She only functions on around maybe a 3 or 4 year level on most things, higher on some other things. And here's Maria. This is what she looks like now. And she is just the sweetest thing in the world. Now, she lives at a group home that's not even about a mile from where I live. And she has a job in a laundry that's run by the organization that runs her group home. It's off-site, and she's basically, self-supporting, and we are very, very proud of her. I bring her home on most weekends and take her back on Sunday evenings after supper. She can't wait to get home, and she can't wait to go back. And now that she's gotten older, she's developed some behavioral problems, and she has some thyroid issues, and so she's on medication for both, but both are very typical of Down syndrome people. But I just wanted to share Maria with you. She has changed my life remarkably, but only for the better. And I don't know what I would do without her. So I will go for now before I just out and out cry. But I did want to share that with you very quickly. And I hope you all have a very blessed day. And I will be getting back with you very soon to show you Lily Beth's Christmas outfit for the day. So I send you love and hugs from Gloria and Lily Beth. Bye-bye, everybody.